dancing next to Madonna and Kanye at the Met Ball, and they were taking selfies, and I just remember being like, that's the world we're in. Hey, I'm Penn Badgley. I'm going to be revisiting some of my firsts here with ELLE. Before we get started, just a reminder to check out my show You on Netflix. My first audition, I think, would have been for a musical, for The Music Man, to play Winthrop, like a 9-year-old with a lisp. Community theater in like a church playhouse 50 miles away from my home at the time, kind of in the sticks in Washington State. And I got it. I didn't know really what I was getting into. It just steadily built by the time, 3 years later, by the time I was 12, I was in LA working professionally. I don't know if I remember my first LA audition, but my auditions are so painfully awkward a lot of times. I mean, you go into them knowing that you're not gonna get it. There's like one I can recall. I think I auditioned for Charmed, but this was not at all my first audition. This was probably my 100th audition. But they all feel like your first in some way. I just gave a terrible line reading, like a terrible line reading, because the line was terrible, frankly, and I just, my heart was not in it. Like, I didn't want to be there. There were many writers in that room. And this man, probably in his 30s, laughed at me. This one man, the grown man, laughed at this boy. Probably because he didn't want to be there either. So we at least agreed on that. When I worked with Dylan McDermott, he played my father in a pilot, something that never went to series, and I was probably 17. And he was, I think at that point, the biggest actor I'd worked with, and I was quite nervous. I was very nervous. Years later, dancing next to Madonna and Kanye at the Met Ball, whatever it's called, and they were taking selfies, and I just remember being like, oh, okay, all right, that's the world we're in. The first day on set, I went in with hair kind of like this. And as the hairstylist, she started doing her thing, and I have so many traumatic hair experiences behind me that I was just like, I don't think I want to try and deal with all this. Nope, let's shave it. Yeah, I just made a very sudden decision, called the creators and was like, hey, what do you think about this? Can I just buzz all my hair off? And they were like, okay. Yeah. I sold them on it, and then I came out and the director was literally like, what? What happened? What did you just do? And I was like, oh, well, here it is. And to this day, I cannot believe that no one told me that my sideburns were so big. They were so big. Because, you can never really see your face from the side until you see it on camera and it's too late.
XOXO, Gossip Girl.
I never did that. No, I didn't even think of that. I don't know that I've ever met Kristen Bell. Have we met? We may have, but briefly. First day on set, season 4. Ironically, I still get nervous a little bit because it's always a completely new cast and completely new crew every season, so it's not comfortable. But I'm also very comfortable as Joe, so maybe everyone else is feeling very nervous and I don't realize it. We were all crammed together in this hotel room in scenes that were in, I guess what's supposed to be Lady Phoebe's suite. Yeah, we were just all together, and everybody had to learn very quickly how little I'm going to speak and how much they have to. I mean, it was probably the first scene. At this point, it literally is all just a wash. It's very hard to remember the first one. I mean, the irony is that one of my first roles ever, back when I was like 12, 13 years old, was the same, playing a young boy who was like watching his neighbor and taking pictures. So I guess I took to it even at an early age. It comes naturally because you just don't have to say anything. It's quite nice in a way. What was the first one? The first one would have been... Isn't that crazy? I'm like, too many dead bodies to remember. Okay, I remember. Yeah, the first one was Benji, and it would have been getting him into the back of that old like classic car of Mr. Mooney's. Here's what I remember. They're all very light, so having to act like it's heavy. Try that one on. That's like mime school 101. I had a few of them over pretty early on when my wife was visiting. In the early days, it was still COVID. We were discouraged from going out. I was in a hotel room by myself. We never all went out, except for like rap parties and stuff. But we would go out in pieces. I think because I'm in every scene and no one else is, it's more like a one-on-one thing. I spend more time with people one-on-one. So I always know what's gonna happen beforehand. It's kind of, I never get that first time reading a script. It's like it doesn't happen for me because they always pitch me what's going to happen. I was just really pleased that it's going to the one place that keeps it fresh, and I can't say anything more about that. But rest assured, it is full of twists, full of turns. The first time was That was me reading a high school story from a young man. We have a huge bank of all these stories. Like, we have, at this point, probably over 1,000 stories that people have sent us. I mean, definitely over 1,000. But there, I guess you just see how I do any voiceover, really. I just I read it a few times, and then I say it in the mic, and we're done. I'm honestly not sure. I don't know. You know what a friend of mine told me that I think is true, must be true, is that Ariana Grande followed me for some time. I didn't know this. And then she unfollowed me. Probably because I didn't follow her back, I don't know. Or because I wasn't posting. I guess the first time I felt like I made it in that first sense, which is like, oh, people know who I am. When I saw my face on the side of a bus in New York City for Gossip Girl back in 2007, that's probably it. And then seeing all of us in Times Square, like up on a big billboard, that would have been it. But the first time I really felt like I'd done something that I loved and was incredibly proud of and felt like I'd poured my heart and soul into was playing Jeff Buckley in a movie called Greetings from Tim Buckley. And that, was sort of a singular experience. Thanks for hanging out with me and Elle reminiscing. Don't you forget, watch that show on Netflix. It's called You.